When we talk about dust mites, we're talking about something that is ubiquitous. They are everywhere. And there's no way you're going to be able to get rid of them all. And not everybody is susceptible to a dust mite allergen. So there's some information that I think is really important for you to understand if you're suffering from allergies and you don't know exactly what may be bothering you. Dust mite allergen might be the problem that you're dealing with, even though you don't even know that they're there. So let's talk about dust mites. They're microscopic creatures, and they're in the spider family, so that probably doesn't make you love them anymore. And what you're going to find out about dust mites is there's very little about them that we're going to enjoy, we're going to think is a great idea. Now, their favorite food source is skin flakes, whether it comes from people or whether it comes from animals, it doesn't really matter. So you're going to find that they're going to be more concentrated in areas where people are, and that means furniture, and it's going to be bedding and your carpet areas. So these are areas that you can try to do something with. Now, we'll never get rid of them. They are everywhere, and it's just a matter of how much we do to try to hold them at bay. It's kind of like ants in some ways that we can try to keep them out of our space, but they're always out there. And the same thing with dust mites, but they're part of our whole society in a sense that they live everywhere. Fortunately, they don't bite. They don't attack us in any form. They just like the skin flakes that fall off of us, and we produce those daily in wherever we go. So that's kind of their food source. Now, they're not really good about it. They actually have to eat that skin flake more than one time to break it down. And every time they eat that skin flake, they deposit a protein in there. Now, that's what people are allergic to. You're not allergic to the dust mites themselves. You're allergic to the protein that is in the fecal matter that they have. And of course, as they eat and digest that, it goes through them several times. Now, that's the kind of the unattractive side of this. And there are literally billions of these in every household. But again, what we're trying to do is how do we minimize the effect of dust mites? Well, cleaning is an important part of the solution. And so you want to have things like a HEPA vacuum cleaner. And by the way, you empty that HEPA vacuum cleaner at least once a week because you don't want to have the buildup of all this material in there. It just makes your machine run better, and it's going to give you a better cleaning process. Second of all, when you are trying to clean, don't use feather dusters or dry dusting. What you really want to do is have some type of wet mop or wet cloth that you're collecting that material from. So when you're doing that, don't just dry clean. And you can also use microfiber. Microfiber is a really good tool because it collects the dust and debris, and you can then wash it out or shake it out as you need. When you're using your HEPA and your dusting tools, you really want to think about how you can collect as much as you can and get rid of it out of the house as opposed to simply moving it around. And a lot of times cleaning can come down to just moving dirt rather than removing dirt. So that's part of what we can do on this. Now, dust mites like higher humidity. Now, our normal range of humidity is between 40 on the low side for comfort and 60 on the high side. If you're right there in the middle at about 50, then you're probably going to be in good shape. If you have high humidity, this favors the dust mites, and it's going to allow them to propagate and colonize even more so. So keep the humidity within a range of 40 to 60%. That would be one of the things you can do. If you know that there's someone having trouble with this, you can also encase the mattress, and you can encase the pillow with allergy-proof or dust-proof casing. And it's not expensive, it's a simple thing to do, but it might help those who are suffering in this. And of course, you want to wash the bedding once a week and use hot water, something on the order of 140 degrees or more, and this will help get rid of whatever is there. And this is all a part of that overall process. We don't like wool and we don't like feather bedding. This allows these little creatures to hide away and harder for us to extract them when we're trying to do the normal cleaning. And you can also replace carpeting. Fortunately, right now we find that there is a big movement toward having hard floor finishes. And with hard floor finishes, whether it's wood floor, linoleum, or tile, now it seems to be the thing we're seeing in most modern building, that's going to reduce the problem of the dust mites. And of course, you want to make sure you're following through on all of these items on a consistent basis. Now, we do apply the Decon 5 in our detox and decontamination process, so that when we are spraying this around to decontaminate a house from odors, from mold, and from mildew, it's also going to impact the dust mites and their eggs. It's going to kill a bunch of insects, by the way. Even though it's not quite a pesticide, it has a very negative effect on almost all types of pests. And so you get some added benefit from when you are detoxing a house with a Decon 5. Every area is getting treated, and we do reduce the population of the dust mites in any home that is being treated. And you might want to repeat the process once a year, as you would maybe your spring cleaning. And all this comes together to make a cleaner, better home. And always we find that the fundamental rule is always cleaning is first in any job that we're dealing with. And so you want to think in terms of what you're doing there. And of course, we want you to use plant-based cleaning products whenever possible. That's going to help the overall toxicity level of the home and will not impact your health nearly so much. So we don't have much to worry about from dust mites. A relative few people are allergic to dust mites or the protein that the dust mites are depositing. And there's very little relief from that other than some of the things we've spoken about today. Otherwise, the doctor may recommend some form of antihistamine to try to reduce the symptoms that come from an allergy. But dust mites are not necessarily a critical issue. They're an aggravating type of issue. It is something that you can work against. You can minimize the effect of dust mites. And I've given you all the tips that you need to know about in order to get rid of dust mites from your home, or at least to minimize the number of dust mites and the impact it's having on your family.